Okay. You know when you think that you are actually like doing nothing with yourself? I'm sorry, I'm like laying down. Uh, I had to make this video and I just got finished making one, but I had to make this video because sometimes it's funny how when we think we accomplished, God said we're, nothing. Like we're doing nothing, and then when we feel like we're doing nothing, God is building us up. And I am so grateful. Like I've said this before, but I truly am grateful for this experience because it gave me such a breath, such a relaxation that I didn't have to use all my strength to get up and push so hard. God sees your effort, God sees your hard work. And if you allow that spirit to take take hold and take spot in your life, it will work tremendously. Um, Sometimes I have problems with going back, and because things are uncomfortable and difficult, but like I said, I have noticed, I have seen God work for me and work on my behalf, and I am so grateful. And sometimes we need to listen to that. I know I do. I know I do. If I would have just kept going, like I said, if I would have just kept going and stayed with the jobs that I had, and not walked away from some of them, and people can still call me dumb because it's like, okay, Bill, your rent is due, this and that, you know, and just focus on what God is telling me. And He's showing me my passion every single time. He's showing me my passion every single time, you know, what I'm feeling natural to do. Uh, when He gets a hold of it, it just blossoms. So, yeah, yeah. So, yeah. Also, I'm learning more patience and to wait on His time, and not to so much think. I used to ask for wisdom, and humility and knowledge, and I don't ask for knowledge anymore. You know, because it's like dumb. It's never gonna be enough, and I just want to be smart enough to follow. Solomon got in that problem too, and once I started learning about the about Solomon, I was just like, Solomon was so smart, but then, I don't want to be like that. I'd rather be dumb. That's what I used to hear. I want to be dumb because you know what? I can be led, but God doesn't work like that either. So, yeah, I'm at peace with myself. Um, I lost some weight, but I lost more inches than anything. And I dropped that weight. After my grandmother died, it was sad, but it was still a weight because, it's like I always wanted to um give her something back because she gave so much to me, and she never asked for anything. She never asked for anything, like, and I didn't know. At first you take it for granted because you're like, grandmothers are supposed to do that, until you start seeing grandmothers, like a lot of grandmothers, not even most, a lot, like most of them don't do that. They'll be like, okay, you can cook, you can come over here and cook, but you're not living with me. You're not. My grandmother always told us, if something ever happens, come home. Even though I wouldn't come home, I won't come home because I'm not gonna be a bother to anyone. And I think that whatever it is, sometimes you gotta get out there and learn. You gotta learn. I just cannot be sitting on somebody's couch or something like that. But my grandmother's so welcoming. Like, she will even give her bed. I remember when my aunt had kicked me out of her house and was like, oh, you're just doing too much or whatever. My grandma was like, no, come. And I stayed outside for like a couple of days first. And then they didn't even know. And I had got my own place. And then my grandmother found out and was like, oh no, oh no. Like, you come here. And I could have stayed in the other room, like in the other bed. She was like, no. She put me in her bed. She like slept in the chair and like just watched over me. Like, it was crazy. Like, my grandmother's like that. So yeah, I that was a huge pressure, because it was like, I always wanted to show her that I loved her no matter what. Like, I wanted her to know, that I was grateful, because if I didn't have her, I would be in such chaos. They would have either I would have been in the system, or they would have sent me overseas, and I would have been in a freaking orphanage. And since my mother was in the system, and then this couple wanted to adopt me, they probably would have gave them to me. If they had enough money. You see how some of that stuff, and I would have never known my family. I would have never known this lineage. I would have never known the history or the generational curses that are on my family to break them. And so I thank her so much, because she was so sacrificing to me. And I was like, my whole thing, I prayed to God, like, I just want to give her one day, where she could just stay and be at peace in her own home, or just to be able to get her a new home, and to take care. And I asked them to take care of my mom, because that's what I was calling her then. And it didn't happen, and that kind of hurt me a little bit, because you see all the stuff that's happening, and the crazy stuff with that goes on in families and stuff like that. And the family dynamic is set to be full of dysfunction anyway. Any family, okay? um and if you say your family doesn't have it, you're lying, okay? Just know that. Just know that. But yeah, I didn't get to do that. So even when she left, it felt sad, but it was sweet, because I was like, she didn't have to suffer anymore or anything like that. But it also lifted off a burden for me, because it's like, now I don't have to work so hard, but I still have to get it, and do it, because there are other people that's looking out, for me. But then I have to take care of myself, and that's what I got for that. Also, oh yeah, you're just talking about other people. That was part of the stress too, because dealing with other people, and you're trying to make sure other people are okay, which God showed me that these people are not helpless. Okay, these people, even though they're saying they don't have the opportunities that you do, they do. Everyone has the same amount of time in their life. Everyone has the 24 hours in a day. Now, what they do with it is their business. It's their business, but you have to understand that, and what you do with your time determines how your outcome is going to be. There is always going to be tomorrow, okay? It just might not be on this side, this side of the sun, okay? It might be on the other side of the sun, but there will always be tomorrow, so you need to prepare for that. People are like, oh yeah, you might as well live like you die, live like this. And I say live like you're dying, because you want to live every moment to the fullest, but still prepare and get yourself ready for that next day. And I remember being a flight attendant, they used to always prep us on that. Like, you had to get everything prepped before, just in case when something does happen, you can get on your feet and you don't have to deal with the next thing. But dealing with other people's problems and your problems, it clutters you up. It clutters you up to the point where you are so congested that you can't breathe and you can't do what you need to do. So going through this transformation and having all this crazy catastrophe stuff just blow up, it's like a mystical blow up, and it hurt it so bad. But like I said, it was the best thing that ever happened, because I didn't have all that extra weight, and then I actually could be okay to let go of that job, because I'm not supporting everyone else. And most of the times when I have the good jobs, I don't really, like, I go out and travel and stuff, but most of that stuff goes to my family or something like that. So that gave me a relief that way. And I noticed that God, like I said, everyone has 24 hours in a day. When they started seeing that I couldn't give it to them or provide to them, they would get up and just leave you high and dry. If you ask them for something, nope, they don't have time for it. So that gave me the wake-up call. Like, you're not that needy. You're not that important. Not to say that you're not important, but you're not that important to the point where they just need you, okay? Sometimes, sorry, I got allergies. So sometimes God is doing the same thing, trying to push them, and they're getting fearful, and they know that you're doing something, so they're gonna lean on you. And you have to be careful with that, because some people will steal your time and your energy and your joy, okay? Even with, like, personal relationships. Like, I went on a date the other day, and I was so happy about it. But after talking to him and having more of a conversation, more, intellectual, because we had a couple of conversations and everything was kind of cool. But how you think, like, maybe, it's just a date, so just go ahead and get out there and see where it was, and that's good. But some of the things that he was saying